everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be taking a look at Tommi Parrish's The Lie and How We Told It. I've become a fan of Tommi's work with Tommi's newest piece, which is Men I Trust, and then have kind of gone backwards to Perfect Hair and then now The Lie and How I Told It. And I'm just consistently impressed with this creator as an artist and as a writer. And I think this book further reinforces that for me. I think this actually might be my favorite of all of the books so far, which I don't know, could be disappointing when it's like the first major work, but I've enjoyed all of them. I just think this one is like the type of thing I really wish I could write. This is the type of thing where it's really just a conversation unplaying in real time, and it's such a good conversation that you get sucked up into the nuances of it and the nuances of the situation and the emotional kind of implications of the conversation going backwards and forwards in time for the characters. It's just really, really rich. I think the only other writer that I've really noticed doing conversations at this level is Louis C.K., particularly thinking about episode 3 of his show, Horace and Pete, where it's just two people sitting at a table for 45 minutes having a conversation, and it's the most engaging thing I've ever seen. And this book has that kind of vibe to it. So basically, you get two characters that just used to be friends, and they're meeting up now for the first time in a long time. You see here, this Tim is coming up to Clary, who's working at a grocery store, and is engaging her. And they basically decide to go hang out for a little bit. Clary's almost off work, and so Tim hangs around, and the characters meet up. And you get the sense that there's kind of a flirtation between them going on. They're almost like feeling each other out based on memories that they had of their teenage years, I guess. And they're mostly talking about sex and relationships and stuff like that throughout. So that's kind of the underlying current of the story. And I'll just go through and show moments that I thought were really interesting, formalisms I thought were interesting, things like that. And then, this pretty spoiler heavy because this is an older book, so I want to get into the content of it. One thing that I noticed really early on was Parrish's use of these dotted outlines and also these panels, or the balloons that just aren't painted in and they're done with white. They kind of show things being quieter or in the background, people trailing off their thoughts. I really hate to bring this up, but have you heard from him? Or this lady talking to her dog, come here, baby. I also really just enjoy Parrish's willingness to lean into really distorted figures for emotional impact. I know a lot of people have seen what I'm doing on Bound, and they thought I'm taking it from Matt Lesniewski or other artists that we've talked to. And actually, Tommi Parrish was one of the main touch points when I was thinking about how to do the style for that book, especially the extremely small heads and then the big clumsy hands. Like, this discomfort in Parrish's work with bodies and the distortion of that seems to be, compelling to me. And so it's something I picked up and used in my own work, probably not distorting it enough to be in this realm, but I really like it. The other thing I really like is that the construction of the artwork is kind of always evidenced in the artwork itself. Not always, I guess, but oftentimes. Like here, you see that the bench was painted first, and then the figure got painted on top of the bench. And that weird kind of see-throughness of the art is really fun. I don't know that it contributes a lot to my interpretation of the work, but I think this idea, maybe the idea of like things being constructed, identity being constructed on the fly, like the images are kind of constructed on the fly, and you see evidence of that, and that's pretty cool. I also like this willingness to go away from dialogue when you need to, move away from written language and jump into a picture when that works better. So this character here is saying things have just been a bit, and then you see like Cleary tearing out all of her guts and heart and, ripping it out. And I like that. That makes a lot of sense to me as someone who's always thought in comics. That's kind of how I think too. And I wish there were ways for me to like throw out images instead of words a lot of time. Like exchanging gifs and memes works really well for me sometimes, and I feel like an artist that's willing to do that in their comics is taking full advantage of the power of comics. Also, just some really lovely compositions and stuff, real willingness to lean into things being quiet this isn't the longest book in the world, about 120 pages, and so it could be tempting when you're having just such a dense little conversation and focus on like a theme. It can be tempting to try and like fill up all of the space, and I think actually taking moments for breath adds a lot to it, and moments for quietness. Now, at this point in the story, Tim has gone inside to go get he's going to go buy some booze, and Cleary's waiting outside and finds this book stuffed in a plant. And this is the only time where the book like veers off of the course of the path, and even though it's still part of the flow of the time, it really feels like you're switching gears. So now Cleary has found this one step inside doesn't mean you understand, a novella by Blumph McQueen. And so you get this document within the story. And, anyone who's watched the channel for a while knows that I really like comics that contain documents as, part of the story. And that's exactly what this is. So I really like that. And it's basically an illustrated book with like a single kind of sentence on every page. And it's, again, talking about relationships. I think it's a prostitute or a stripper, somebody that's sleeping with a client, or someone who's gone home with someone. But they're having like an awkward sexual relationship throughout the book. I take his heels off, sipping Red Bull and cranberry whilst offering crumbs from my life. I tell him that I'm an artist and that I don't really sleep with men very often. I take my long brown wig off and show him my shaved head. This gesture of simulated vulnerability usually gets me good tips. So there you see that this character is bi and is pretty much sleeping with the dude trying to get tips. And just kind of that's the kind of story that you see a lot of in the Perfect Hair anthology, this like weird kind of fucked up interpersonal relationships and odd, abnormal, I shouldn't say abnormal, but outside of the standard sexual relationships, kind of sexual relationships that always have like a sadness or a darkness to them, seems to be a theme through a lot of Tommy's work. So that kind of adds this extra layer of sexual tension to the story and regret about sexuality, maybe. And then you come back to Tim coming back out, and Cleary's caught up in this book and is kind of surprised and drops it. And then they go back to having their conversation. Again, you can see some of these really nice transparencies where like the bottle was painted first and the hands were put on top of it. None of that looks like a mistake. It doesn't look like Tommy painted a bottle and was like, oh crap, I need to put hands on it. It's just like sometimes you see the process in there, and I quite like that. So after stopping at the store, the characters go along, they drink, they finally go to a bar and are getting more drinks, and they're talking about their sexuality. Cleary's talking about being bisexual, and then Tim kicks in with like oh yeah, like I've not gay, but like I slept with this dude that we know. Like every now and then, like I'll hook up with the dude. And so it is kind of admitting for the first time, it seems like, to someone else that he's had homosexual encounters and is going through that. And then at the end, Clary says, and then what happened? He's like, oh, I'm pretty sure we just played Xbox till the others got back. So it's like this casual blowjob followed by Xbox. And then it's shortly after that, Tim excuses himself and goes to the bathroom, and Cleary has a talk with this character, Quinn, who's like someone else at the bar that comes up, I think the server at the bar, and they make a more intense connection. And this is the most interesting part of the book to me. The conversation up until now has been really good and really interesting, really well written, really kind of loaded with drama. But at this point, where Tim has gone to the bathroom, you start to get a sense of like what these characters have been up to the whole time, is that they're testing each other. They're kind of seeing if they want to risk hooking up with this person that they remember from high school. So they've gone out and had this night of like hanging out and catching up, and they're kind of testing out whether they want to have sex or not. And when he goes to the bathroom after this admission of being bisexual, it seems like Cleary has kind of learned something about him. The casualness of his willingness to play Xbox right after getting a blowjob or something has turned her off, and then now she's swinging back towards her typical preference for women and is getting a phone number here. And then you get Tim in the bathroom kind of being conflicted about his admission and thinking more about, you know, whether it's not explicit, but kind of in between the lines, whether he wants to hook up with Cleary. He's getting some liquid courage there multiple times. He takes some swigs out of a flask, draws a dick on a wall, but realizes he's a child and is just like, okay, here we go. And then they go back out and basically, like, the night's over after that. They have nothing to say, really. They're kind of have both decided that they're not interested in hooking up with each other. There's like this break in the momentum that they have going. And then they kind of have to finish the night out by like, well, I'll walk you to the train. But now that that break in the momentum has happened, they really have nothing to talk about. They've really lost total interest in each other. And it's just such an uncomfortable, awkward walk to the train. And Tommi Parrish does just a phenomenal job of illustrating that. All the other little details that you would start paying attention to, like these things that I'm sure if I actually flip back, I'm sure we've seen this stuff in the story before and ignored it. But now that the characters are, like not absorbed in the conversation and they're looking for anything else to pay attention to, they're observing all the details. So really well observed. You know, that's kind of a motto we like on here, and this book puts that into play in a very real way. Really well observed interaction here with like going for some stalled hugs and then like a weird handshake and then just the emptiness of going down into the train alone. I think that's just all really, really well played. And then once Cleary gets onto the train, there's a cool little formalism here where the phone's just saying Rihanna, but I know that it's a Rihanna song for the most part. I guess that would be Rihanna, and I don't know, maybe Rihanna is the person calling, or maybe it's the song Rihanna. I don't know, but I like this idea that that's not literally what the phone's saying. It's an indication of something else. And then Cleary dives back into the book at the end, and the book provides kind of a little emotional summary of everything. And then she had found it because someone left it. She leaves it for someone else and moves on. And so I just think that's, you know, this is the kind of thing I really, like I said, I really wish I could write this. It's the type of thing I really enjoy reading right now, where you just have natural conversation that doesn't seem particularly, you know, exciting in any way, but the author is able to draw me into it, make me feel the consequences of it, make me associate with the characters, make me empathize with the characters, all just through the pacing and the handling and where the pauses are at and just what the dialogue is. I think also, you know, if you look at the lines of dialogue, nothing's ever like a big, long soliloquy or anything like that. They're all pretty short little statements. And you still get a lot of depth out of that. So there's a lot to be gained, I think, from studying Tommi Parrish's writing, and then also, like I said, the art has been having a big influence on me, and I really enjoy that. So I think Tommi Parrish is, you know, one of my favorite creators right now, someone that I hope continues to make a significant contribution to the field. Looks like with 2 books out from Fantagraphics, you know, there's some consistency there, and hopefully that continues, because this is an artist I really, really appreciate. Hopefully you've read some of Tommi Parrish's work. If not, definitely encourage you to go out and get at least one of the books. I think The Lie and How We Told It would be my recommendation. Might as well start at the beginning and then work your way forward. It's all really quality work. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel and want to support us, there's 2 ways to do that. The first one is through our Patreon. We have 2 different tiers of engagement there. At the first tier, you just get early access to the videos. At the second tier, you get exclusive access to previews of things that Sean and I are working on, as well as the ability to take part in our ongoing web experiment, Prod Day, where you can help determine how the story goes. Any of the money that we get from the Patreon just goes right back into helping us buy the books that we review, so we put that right back into the community. If you want to support Living the Line itself, the best thing to do is support what Sean's doing with Living the Line Publishing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at one of his projects now. Centralia is an awesome, gorgeous comic by rising Dutch star Miel van de Piet. This is his first work. It's a really great sci-fi story. There's a world in the future where the sun has gotten so hot that people can't be on the ground, so they have to run around. There's a lot of conceits that go with that. You know, what is the world that looks like? And I think you can see by the art that Sean's description of this book as like a Moebius for young adults, a YA Moebius, is a really great description of this really gorgeous and like wild, wacky, fun book. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.